Good morning and welcome to WNHH Radio's Dateline New Haven. I'm your host, Paul Bass, inviting you to join me on an exploration of what makes the Elm City tick. Well, the people here in the WNHH studio today make our city's neighborhoods tick. Say good morning to Nina Silva, who heads the Dixwell Community Management Team, and welcome back to Kim Harris, who chairs the New Hallville Community Management Team, and who has sparked a citywide coming together of all the management teams in a campaign called One City. Also, special thanks to Yale New Haven Hospital for providing support for today's program. Kim, it is so nice that this is becoming a regular feature every week, having you come in with somebody else who runs a community management team in one of our neighborhoods, and that you're helping work with everybody to get a lot of action happen in our neighborhoods. So thanks for coming back, Kim.
Thank you for having us.
You're making time for us every week. Makes me feel special. And Nina Silva, it's nice to have you for your inaugural appearance on Dateline New Haven.
Thank you.
So, Nina, what's it been about a year or two you've been heading the Dixwell management team?
No, it's only been 6-7 months.
Are you already made an impact? Because we heard about it as in New Hallville, about how there's been a ramping up of that management team. You guys are more active, more people come to meetings, right? And
yes, it's awesome. I would love more Dixwell members to come out. So if you're in Dixwell and you're watching, please come out every third Thursday of the month.
All right. So last week you had a meeting.
We
and
did.
In Dixwell, since you've come on board, just in those 7 months, so much has been happening with plans to build new housing and other kind of community institutions in Dixwell. Just in those 7 months, we've been busy at the Independent writing about it. The most recent one is 201 Munson Street, an old factory that's been empty for a long time and dirty, polluted. I guess they can clean up, right? On the edge of the Science Park, old Winchester factory. They're going to make 400 apartments or close to that there. A whole kind of new community, most, I believe, market rate housing. How are you feeling about it? Because you had a lot of say in it.
I welcome them to the neighborhood. I do hope that they will have some affordable housing within that, but there are some new community affordable housing on the horizon with Beulah Land.
Mm-hmm.
So I welcome them also. They're also the Q House and a lot of other nice businesses popping up, and we welcome them all. It seems like Dixwell's coming back to
Dixwell is coming big and with a roar, and we'll get to some of those other things you mentioned because you didn't even give the full list because there's so much going on.
Yes.
It's interesting. The neighborhoods are being asked about this these days. What do you do when people want to build market rate housing, which means that it's not for poor people. It's not generally for rich people sometimes, but people who make a decent salary. And does that help or hurt a neighborhood? Does that make other housing more expensive, or does it just help bring stability and more people to go to businesses and keep the streets safer? So, both your management teams, Kim and Nina, in the last week have talked to this developer, but in fact, you've been with them for months. Right. This developer, I think, from California, did it right in the sense that before he came for his public approvals, he sat with you folks and others to find out, because I like the fact that Nina didn't answer right away, because it's not always yes or no. It's like, we like your bill, but we want you to do it the right way and help our neighborhood. Do you feel that some of the features you asked them for the project were added? Do you feel your input was heard? Because I know a lot of the issues were, is it going to be open to the community? It's going to be gated? It's going to be along the Farm to Canal Trail? Will there be jobs for local people when they build the thing? Well, how do you feel how this process has gone, Nina?
To start, I do feel that he heard with the hiring local people to demolish it. There were local people they're hired. There are going to be local people to build, and that's a plus for our community because there are people that need work. As far as I know, they listened to, we needed, instead of one way in, they needed one way in and one way out. There needed to be 2 ways. So I know that is in the plan to have 2 entrances and 2 exits. We're still working on different community things. I'm very much for the kids in our community. So if they're going to have a pool and different things. Maybe we could work out something with them.
That's an interesting subject because often people don't like in those developments to keep a pool open. Like, I'll bet they want to keep it just for the people who live there.
And that's understandable, but we do have a community, even if we just have a community day or
Is there a
or
pool
something.
in Dixwell?
At Hill House.
Hill House.
Hill House has a
Yes,
pool?
Hill House has a pool and it's open and it's running. I do believe there's a program there now that is doing swimming lessons. But it would be just nice to be able to maybe have a community day, maybe once a
What a
month
great
or
idea.
something, just so
And Kim,
that
we're going to ask you in a
community
minute
and
about
our
the New Hallville
community
view.
will be able to mesh
All right,
together.
So now this is it fronts technically, actually not really in Dixwell. That's the Munson Street is the dividing line of Dixwell and New
Yes,
Hallville.
yes.
And even though like we pay attention to the maps, not always in real life. And then you kind of have Science Park, which is called New Hallville, but it's not really a neighborhood, right? But when you go in this land, it goes back right into New Hallville.
Yes,
Yes.
it does.
And it's very much a part of New Hallville as well as Dixwell. So from the beginning, you folks have been in the loop, correct, Kim Harris?
Absolutely.
So what's been your view as this project has developed?
So they came to our management team meeting last night and they presented the Utopia. We called it the Utopia.
Right.
Because the pictures were absolutely beautiful, magnificent.
I was noticing it was about like a third people were black in it, 2/3 white. Does that look right to you? I mean, they had kind of indistinct. You can't always tell. You know.
Yeah, you can.
They're careful when they make those pictures. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm telling you, he talked about there was a lead issue, and so they're modifying and correcting that. They talked about the jobs and how not just for actually doing the demolition, but
In the future,
in the
right.
future they're doing in 2 more weeks they're going to have classes where people for OSHA, and it's going to be an ongoing
That's
thing.
the Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
So we were very happy, and we pushed the button on that last night because Serena from
Livable City
LCI.
Initiatives.
she was there last night as well, and I said to Serena, Serena, this is good. Doug, this is good. This is great. But I need to have more of a pipeline. We want to have a system. We want this to be very systematic on these jobs because I don't want to let that go because that seems to be the thing. You know,
Okay,
they'll get
hold
a
that
job
thought
as
for a second,
Mhm.
Kim. We're going to get back to that jobs of
Yes.
this project. You got a call here
Oh.
on the on calling in to Dateline New Haven. Thanks for calling in. Did we just lose him, Harry? Oh, okay. You can call
Oh.
us back, whoever that was. I heard a
Okay.
baby in the background. Maybe someone needed a diaper change
Oh.
or a milk bottle.
Or work.
Yeah. Hello.
So, Kim, jobs were a big concern.
Jobs were a big concern, and the other concern was how many of these apartments are going to be affordable?
Probably not most of them. Aren't they talking 10 to 20%?
10%, and Serena was there. She said they are pushing for more. So we're at the 10% minimally with this.
Well, now, how does that affect the community now? So if you bring in 360, 380 apartments of people who like are teachers or they work at Yale and they're coming community, does that help your community or hurt? If it's, remember, there's a property, part of the issue is this is a property that was polluted and empty. It's now coming online, but it might be its own little contained world. Is that better or worse? Like if it had been there when they tried to make the bakery go, would that have made the bakery succeed? Or do you feel shut out by a neighborhood and you want the land to have a different purpose? It's a tough question, isn't it?
It's a very tough
Very.
question. And I think that because we're in on it from the beginning, I think that we have a chance to really push the whole community initiative. And maybe it is a community day quarterly over there, or maybe it is where the doors are open up where kids can come in and possibly learn from the types of jobs that are in that community. You know, we're not sure on how we want to really make this thing happen, but there's all kinds of arms and legs that can happen from this particular. Because to me, when it's coming in, the project is in.
embrace
It's
it.
here. It's here. There's really no way of getting around it. But now, isn't it better to have some people who would never have an opportunity to enjoy this utopia, to enjoy it and see it and spread the word about, wow, you too can have this. We got to work hard. We got to look differently at how we manifest jobs. And it's about education. Because if we work this education piece pretty nicely, maybe we can get the next level housing, not just for a segment of people
Well,
for
around
low
a
income.
block away, you had another old factory was made into housing inside the gates of Science Park, which is the Winchester Lofts. And they were doing some apartments there for $3,000 a month, which
Mhm.
have they filled? You know what's going on with that?
I haven't. Not
Has that
really.
affected your neighborhood at all?
I know it. I
I
don't think
don't-
it's full, and I don't think that all of the units have been utilized.
No, and I don't think it's affected our neighborhood. I wonder if our neighborhood has affected it.
Right.
That's the only issue. But I love what Kim said, the education, and it made me think of what if in the community day they did um a work day, or what do you everyone who's there, like say if there's a lawyer that lives there, they present on what you have to do to be a lawyer, to get our kids to understand that yes, you have to work hard, but this is obtainable.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
it
Nina,
would be good.
you alluded at the beginning of this program how many other projects are happening right nearby. Like you look across the street, right across the street, like you in half a second you just step across the street there on Munson. You have a whole bunch of new housing there, what used to be some vacant properties, as well as the old Cardinals Club. And that's more what they call workforce housing. It's not affordable in the sense that it's not for people on welfare or earning minimum wage, but it's not for rich people, right? They built 7 apartments, I think it was, new NHR properties. How did that work out?
Pretty well. I think everything is going good. There's our LCI specialist does a wonderful job making sure that everything is intertwined, and there hasn't been anything. I would love for those people to come out to our management team meetings so we could see a face to the house. You know, it's hard because the LCI specialist does see the face to the house, but we as a community would love to see the face to the house.
We got a call. You're on the air on Dateline New Haven with Nina Silva and Kim Harris. How you doing today?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for calling.
Hi. I just wanted to call in about the One City initiative, and I'm calling from Harrison Tucker School.
All right.
I want to let all the listeners know that as part of our contribution to the One City initiative, we'll be doing Sundays on Mondays, where the community can visit, make a Sunday, and also visit. We'll be having the bookmobile come, and they can listen to some story time and look at books on the library truck.
So Mondays this summer, starting after June 28th, right?
Sundays on Monday. So ice cream Sundays.
Sundays on Monday.
Right. Ice cream. You come on a Monday to the Harris Tucker preschool, which I believe that Kim is second generation operator on Newhall Street. And you're going to eat a Sunday with your kids, read a book, hear a book with your kids on Mondays. And we're going to talk later in this hour is how that's one of only 60 events we're hoping to have every day in neighborhoods this summer that families can enjoy. And we're going to be dealing with that later in the show. So thanks for calling from Harris Tucker.
Thank you very much. Very excited.
All right. We're excited to have it. Thanks a lot for the call. So we were talking a little more about all that's happening. So right across the street from 201 Munson in Dixwell and New Hallville, and then as you go toward Dixwell, is they have new kind of workforce housing. And then right another across the street, one more in Henry. You could see this all. Just stand at the corner and see all 3 pieces of property right there. There's a vacant lot that the city owns that's going to have a big elderly tower to replace this senior housing at Edith Johnson. That's going to be affordable housing. That's going to be lower income seniors in a tower. How do you folks feel about that one?
I love it.
I love it.
I love the idea of our seniors having a space in New Haven, right in the heart of New Haven, where they won't miss a lick, a beat. And they'll be close to the Q house.
And that area is just filling up. So you got like 200 Munson was vacant land. NHR was vacant land. That lot was vacant. You're going to have a lot more people in. I love how Nina's thought was, let's get them to the management team meeting.
Yes.
Because then you get more power for the neighborhood.
Right.
And then right down the block on Henry, there was an old factory, McAllister Bicknell, across from where now is the Elephant in the Room gym. And now that's being made into artist complex. Titus Gaffer, who's amazing.
I met him last week.
He's amazing.
Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. Nationally known artist. Did covers for like Time Magazine and stuff. Yeah. And he's got the money to fix up that old factory. What the factory last was an illegal Chinese-owned company to have counterfeit beats, Dr. Dre beats that they were shipping out and having people live in. That got shut down.
Yeah.
It was empty for years. It's right around from senior housing on County Street, the corner there at Henry and County. And now that's going to be this big new arts company. Artists live, artists work, and have classes for the community. How do you feel about that one?
I absolutely love it. And like I said, I'm so about the kids in our community. They are our future. And whatever we can do to teach them, to learn them different ways of life, or spark inside of them a gift that they don't know that they might have, I welcome all of that.
Then moving back up Henry Street, you go to Dixwell. You're gonna have the Dixwell Q House,
Yes.
a few blocks away, which has been empty, now torn down but generations of people did grow up there. Did either of you go to the Q House when it was around when you were kids?
My mother did.
Your mother did.
Yes.
My mother went to the old. My mother is 87, so
Oh.
she talks about that they lived at the Q House.
Okay, so now it's getting rebuilt. I think $15 or $16 million, and construction's about to start. So that's going to be a big change in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Stetson Library, which is your main community center right
It
now, it's going to have a bigger home in there, along with the Cornell Scott Health Center.
Mm-hmm.
And then that leaves a big gap in the Dixwell Plaza, which is a commercial plaza built during urban renewal when they tore down a lot of buildings that had stores and stuff. And it keeps going, and it kind of runs down. But now there's a big space that used to be a Seatown supermarket that Titus and others have gotten money to turn into a media center.
Absolutely.
Now, we haven't heard much about that yet. They came to both of your community management team meetings?
Yes.
So what did you hear? What's this going to be like?
From what I hear, just going to be wonderful. Eric Clemens came out and
All right, Concat, which is going to
Concat, yeah.
bought the property.
absolutely, he came out and gave us some of I see the vision of it. Like if you're walking down Dixwell, where they'll have it open and they'll have TVs and you could look in and you could go in and maybe.
I think they're
and
going to do some
spark
kind of
your
web
media
TV
things.
show right
Yes,
there.
Yes.
But what is
A
it going to be
beautiful
exactly?
restaurant.
Yes,
Beautiful
a restaurant.
Yes.
What kind of restaurant?
And he's more of the Harlem Renaissance era. So
Which they teach at Concat to
yes.
the kids in
Right.
the after-school program.
yeah, so I'm very much picturing that this is going to be of that nature. I'm trying to think of the old clubs that they used to have in Harlem.
Like Monterey here.
Right, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So is he going to have music there?
Absolutely.
So what's it going to be? A arts center or?
It sounds like that, but they're still working on it. So we're welcome to hear all of the new.
So when
things.
you're a management team, this is the grassroots. When people want to do stuff, they come and get your ideas. How do you feel about that role?
It's not really a role because I feel more as a facilitator of the meeting. It's more of the community coming together and deciding on, oh yes, we like that for our neighborhood, or yes, we like that for our neighborhood, but how can we change it, or how can we add to it? How can we add Dixwell flavor to this project that's coming? So it's not just Nina.
I didn't
It's a
mean I
voice.
wasn't
Dixwell.
suggesting it was you. I meant
Right,
the
yeah.
group.
Right.
Yes.
So what I feel is that it really gives people a chance to grow in knowledge and information, and it gives them a voice. Because a lot of times the community is shut out of things because there's not a spot to go to. Now our management teams are opening up where we're asking people to come in, especially when there's new development. We want to know about it, and we become more knowledgeable about what's happening in our neighborhood.
Right,
And
and
we
then
get a
you don't
chance-
hear. I didn't know that was
So
here.
people are very happy, especially the seniors. They're very happy
Yes.
to have information. And there's another category of people too, because a lot of our young people are getting released back into society.
Prison reentry.
Yes.
Right.
So now there's a chance for them to not have to travel so far for jobs. Construction is something that is really big that is happening. We're seeing a lot of our reentry population go after those jobs. And it's not just up to 25. They're even looking to push this with the Burn Grant. They're looking to push this to age 30, where we're going to get that population of people that are reentering in as well, and having something for them right here at home to give them some self-worth and just wanting to be a part of a voice. Once again, a voice.
Yeah, and I love the questions at our meetings, how the community really is involved and how they ask the developers different questions and different things, and it makes us feel whole.
Yeah.
And then Beulah Heights is a church on Orchard Street, again, right near that border of New Hallville and Dixwell, technically in Dixwell. And they rebuilt a whole neighborhood that was just a terrible place, made it really nice with a lot of housing around the blocks around their church, Orchard and Munson and Henry. And now they're looking to build some more affordable housing in the neighborhood. And they came to your community management teams with two projects, one on the same block, smaller ones. There's 201 Munson, and then the old Joe Great lot,
Yes.
where Dixwell meets New Hallville, where he used to have his barbecue stand and
Yes.
his car place. And what do you guys think of those projects?
I think the project on the old Joe Great block is I love it. He's talking about a community store, maybe underneath the affordable apartments. So there's a lot of things there that are open to communication to figure out what the neighborhood would like. And I know I would like a community store.
Absolutely. Revitalizing the neighborhood. I mean, just
What kind of store are you thinking of? There's a store right there in Henry, but I guess it's a convenience store.
We won't talk about
I know, but they've had a lot of crime
a
there. Shootings and
community
drugs, yeah.
store, a community that is run by our community, a community that is run by people from our community that I live right there. And not to say that I don't go in that corner store, not to say they don't.
They've had
They're
problems
like,
there.
hi, miss. I want to see someone like me when I go into the store. I want to possibly see some of our community children being able to have maybe after school jobs.
What kind of stuff sold? What kind of store?
Probably the same type of thing, but I would love to see more fruits and vegetables.
They've tried that in New Haven with convenience stores in the neighborhoods to try to get them to have healthier foods, and they don't sell.
Well,
People
they're
want
pretty
the junk.
expensive too.
they're
in our
very
community.
expensive, but you know,
It's going to be nice if we could have that tie-in with our community gardens.
Yeah,
the
we're
ones-
about to have a.
Well, that's
community
just saying New
garden.
Hallville is the best community garden.
Yes.
You guys got so many of them,
Yes.
and they're
yes.
lovingly tended.
Yes.
We
yes.
will have one soon, very soon.
All
Well,
right,
I'll
and
be
you're
looking to
listening to
New
plans
Hallville.
for Dixwell and New Hallville today on WNHH's Dateline New Haven, 103.5 FM, live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. We're talking to Nina Silva, the new energy running the Dixwell Community Management Team, and Kim Harris, the new energy behind the New Hallville Community Management Team. And Kim, as we've talked about previously on this program, this summer you're revving up. You got all the management team presidents or chairs in the city, all 12 management teams, including Nina and Dixwell. You're all committed to spending this summer together promoting 60 events in 60 days. And each day, every neighborhood has an event for 60 days. You're going to tell everybody where it is in each neighborhood. You're going to ask people not only to bring their families to those events in each other's neighborhoods, but also to find 5 businesses or institutions in each neighborhood which will offer discounts to people to support a locally owned institution and get people to find out who they are and keep them in business. Do you have an update on how that effort's going?
Yes, I do. And as a matter of fact, Nina, I need to defer to you because some of Nina's Dixwell neighborhood people have been driving down Newhall Street, and of course, I'm stopping them. Hey, did you hear about? And she, yes, Nina's on it. She's telling us. So, I mean, all these great ideas that I'm hearing from the people in Dixwell Avenue. Can you just share a couple of those ideas? With the one idea with Kay from Here's Kay.
Here's
Oh
Kay.
my goodness, I can't wait for this one.
Yes. If we just got finished talking about that location where the old bakery was, is where Kay's hair salon is, and right across there's like a little park, and what her idea was to have a community potluck to dress up the park maybe in white linens, bring chairs, everyone come out and get to know one another. So that's going to be one of our 60 days where everyone brings a dish. We get to meet.
Well, she's
our
famous
neighbor.
for her potlucks already.
Yes,
Right.
she is.
So she's opening these up to the community.
Right.
Yes.
That's interesting. That'll be part of the 60. So how many of those are going to be?
One with that location, but I do plan to have 2 for my management team meetings, July 26th and July 16th, have a community potluck
How fun.
meeting.
And is it going to be with a Jamaican food theme or broader?
I think with the one in the park, I don't know if that park has an official name.
Scandalberry? No.
No. It's like a little triangle right there across from 201.
Oh, where Munson and Henry meet.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
Probably got a name.
the developers last night
Yes.
committed to fixing
Putting
that
new
part
trees,
very
last
nice.
night. Yes.
and a bench in
It's a
that.
nice
Yes.
area, nice
Yes.
space.
Yes. We have to come up with a name for it. It would be nice if it had a little Caribbean
Feel to it.
feel to it. I like that.
Yes, she was even talking
Or
about
even a community
Community
potluck,
potluck.
but each of us bringing food. I'm Cape Verdean, so maybe each
From
of
our
us
cultures.
bringing a
Yes.
food from our culture, so our neighbors not only meet each other but meet our culture. Aha.
and she wants to close down the street
Yes.
and have
Oh, nice.
another chalk it up right in that little pathway area
Uh-huh.
and
Very
let the
nice.
kids do it. So
Also, just close the part of Ashman that goes that extra block.
Yeah.
in front,
Yes.
Yeah, that little.
So it doesn't
So-
stop the traffic
Yes.
going to
Right.
Munson or Henry. Yeah.
Right.
That sounds
Right.
great. Any other updates on?
Oh, absolutely. So last night at our management team, and I was so touched by what Mashika had said. We had East Rock was in the house. not East Rock. East Shore was in the house. The management team leader, Quinnipiac, came.
So they're just coming to each
They're
other's
just
management
coming
team
to
meetings.
each other and supporting
cool.
each other. And she said, "Wow, I love the love that's going on here." And I said, "It's for real. We're so feeling it." And they really were there, and they were talking about a little bit about what they're going to be doing in their areas. So we have that's happening. We're
What were some
supporting.
examples of what they said?
Marge, of course, was talking about the art. The art walk
In Westville.
in Westville, and that's a little bit before her time, before the time of. But she says she's coming on the radio show next week, and she's going to be talking about that and some of the things they're looking at doing. Hooking up with Alicia to do the salsa dancing.
Great idea.
Yes, and she's
The
going,
House of Salsas
yes,
in Westville Village.
Yes, and she wants to comb that whole block, and she's going to use the art walk to really push the 60-day initiative. So that's going to be their push over there. That's
Great.
when they're going to really get the noise out. We have been, we just put the finishing touches, Nina and I, on our One City Initiative website. So now it goes to our web developer, Randy, and now it's just a cut and paste.
Well, you have a website already.
Yes, we do. So now people can actually load in their adventures on the website.
Oh,
starting next week.
Excellent idea.
Starting next week. So that's what we've been working on all week long, and we just didn't know, like, really how in depth it was, because we really wanted to make sure that it's step by step, so that there are not a lot
You
of
got to
questions.
be careful so it's easy to do.
Yes. So we really had to break that down. So we're very, very happy for that. We have our official logo, which will be on there too. So
Is that done the Caroline Smith, or you have a new one?
Caroline Smith.
Yes.
She really
I've seen
did
that
her
logo, and she's
due
the head of
diligence.
downtown Worcester Square management team.
Yes.
So
she,
everybody has something to contribute. You run different management teams. You have something you bring to it.
absolutely. So she retweaked the logo, and it be from everybody's input on it, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So we're going to upload that. The other thing that we have is the expo. That's
the kickoff
opening,
event
yes.
at the Field House on Hill House High School
Yes.
on June 28th.
Yes. So the management teams that were there last night, they were talking about the different categories of people that will be coming to the expo. So Nina is in charge of entertainment, and I'm going to defer to her again, because she really is just blowing this whole thing up with what
What's
she's
your
bringing.
thought on entertainment at that?
Oh, did you go to the talent night?
I missed it at the Schubert.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, then if you missed it, you need to come, because I
Okay,
have some
deal.
alders who are going to perform.
Okay, Jeanette. Am I going there?
I haven't talked to Jeanette yet, but it would be nice. Jeanette, if you're listening. But I have alder Jill Marks, who's going to come sing.
Oh,
and
she has a good gospel choir. I've heard them.
a wonderful
They're
voice.
terrific.
Yes. And she's also a part of my management team. Some of a couple of my blocks belong to her. So she's coming out. I also have Forever. She's coming. She's a gospel rap artist. And Dougie Bethia with The Nation, they're going to try to open up for us. And a couple of other things that
Excellent.
are
Nita, you talked about, you said you came from a Cape Verdean family. Were you born in Cape Verde, or your parents
no,
were?
my father.
And your father, and we have people don't know, we have a pretty significant Caribbean American community in New Haven. Did they come first to like Antillian Manor around there, or where did they live first?
New Bedford, Mass.
Oh, no, and when they came to New Haven, where did they settle?
Ansonia, I believe.
Okay, and were they drawn out by the flood in '55, or they weren't part of that?
I don't think my father ever talked about
Okay,
anything like that.
and they've lived in Dixwell for how long?
My father lived, forever. I grew up in New Hallville.
Oh, you grew up in New Hallville.
Mhm.
So now Dixwell Avenue, just so everyone knows, runs through Dixwell and New Hallville neighborhoods up to Hamden from downtown. Dixwell's the first neighborhood closer to downtown. It's historically the main artery of the African-American community, has a great storied history.
Right.
And Dixwell has remained a largely African-American neighborhood, though that's somewhat evolving, correct?
Mhm.
And then New Hallville was a much more mixed racially neighborhood until, I guess, the 70s and 80s, right?
Correct.
People used to work at the Winchester Gun Factory, which is in between the two neighborhoods, which had up to 15,000 jobs, 3 shifts around the clock. And now it became Science Park on a smaller scale, but it's happening. And now New Hallville it used to have I don't know if it still does, the highest rate of African-American home ownership in the
Correct.
city. And you both grew up in that neighborhood.
Yes.
Right. And my grandmother, who will be 105, May
Whoa,
19th.
she's still going.
Yes, she's still
All
going.
right, Grandma.
Amen.
She owned her first house on Henry Street, and then her second house on Butler Street.
Mhm.
And they all worked at Winchester, and it's just a part of me.
And so you grew up on Butler Street?
Yes.
And what happened when jobs went away at Winchester? Were your folks already retired, or did they find other employment?
I believe they all went to Yale.
Mm-hmm.
They all worked at Yale or retired. By then, I think my grandmother was pretty much, older.
What kind of work did they do at Yale?
My mom actually was a clerk in the OR, and
That's the hospital.
At the hospital. Well, that's what I think I meant the hospital. I forget that there is the university too.
Right.
And my aunts worked in transportation.
All right. And so did they own the house on Butler?
Yes.
What was it like growing up on Butler Street?
Wonderful.
As a matter of fact, right? Nina lived next door to my cousin.
Okay.
Well,
years.
before it was your cousin,
Before it was my cousin.
Mrs. Glover's
That's right.
mother.
That's
Teddy-
right.
Teddy Glover?
Teddy Glover.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
right. That's
So
right.
it was her mom's house, and her mom taught us all how to crochet and
Yes.
sew. Those are the things that I would love to bring back to the kids, just my memories of the older women in my neighborhood that made me who I am today. Mrs. Glover, she made me who I am today because of her voice and how she was adamant of what I should do, and I went the other way of what she said I should do, and I'm
What did
back.
she say?
I should have been an educator, and
And
she
which way
pushed-
did you go?
I went no way where I should have went, and now I'm back to education. So sometimes the older, wiser people,
What are you doing in education now, Nina?
I work as a paraprofessional at John C. Daniels.
All right. And then so you settled, and do you live now? Where in New Harvard do you live? I mean, you
I
live in
live on
Dixwell.
Henry.
Live in Dixwell. Do you own a house as well?
No,
Okay, you
not
rented?
yet.
Not yet. Okay. And Kim, where did you grow up in New Harvard?
On Lander Street, my grandmother, actually, they went Legion Avenue first. They came from South Carolina to Legion Avenue.
What city in North Carolina? Or town?
Greensville.
Okay.
Greensville. And my mother's the baby of 10. So she had a little.
Did they come up to work at Winchester, or what brought them up?
So it was about work, absolutely. My uncle was in the service, and they actually, my auntie and my uncles, they actually went to Siemens Rubber Company, and they
Which
did
used to
their,
be on
Yeah,
Long
that's
Wharf. Yeah.
where
Yes.
my dad worked.
so they did their
Okay.
stint there, and they kind of, my auntie, who was the youngest of the crew who worked there, she retired out from there. She was one of the ones that retired out, and then the younger children, they basically did their own businesses. They were into entrepreneurship,
Like you.
like me. They really, I got it honestly.
And your aunt started the Harris Tucker.
my
right?
mother and my auntie.
And now
both
you're
started
running it in New
yes.
Harville.
And then I had the one uncle who did the grass cutting forever. He had 8 boys, so they did that grass cutting throughout New Haven. And my uncle George Blackman, Clutch, the park, that was his thing.
And was he really Daniel Blackman, the police officer?
No, George Blackman, he was the one that was in charge of Gulf Street Park. That was
Okay.
his job that he did. down
What do
there.
you remember about growing up in New Harville?
I definitely remember the women of New Hallville. I remember Miss Glover, without a doubt. I remember
She was an alderwoman, and she also worked for the Board of Ed, correct?
yes.
Mhm.
I remember the Walkers. I remember Barbara Tenney. I remember
She's
her.
still around running family lines.
Yes.
See, now, when I go around New Harville sometimes in the nicer weather, I notice all the older men who are at the community gardens. And they tend them, and they're almost like forests. I mean, they're so beautiful how much grows there. Do they have interaction with the young people, or no? It's not the same thing.
I think when it's starting to open up a little bit now because we're asking them to tell their stories. And of course, when you say, well, how did this start? Or how did you start doing this? They have an openness. So we bring our preschoolers down on the corner of Newhall and Bassett. There's a beautiful garden right there. And he's
Do they go in the afternoon? Because they're not there in the morning, are they?
right in the afternoon. They'll go on through and they get a chance to look at the things that are growing and touch them and from the beginning and they'll give the kids some seeds to take back and we started our own little community garden as well.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a thing where you have to you ask and they're giving, but if you don't ask, they're just tending their gardens.
So New Harville had some tough decades with
Yes.
absentee owners, loss of jobs, crack hit pretty hard there in the
Yes.
80s and 90s. Well, how are things now? Do you see revival? Do you see where is it headed?
Absolutely. And if you look at the statistics, the crime is down, drugs are down. We have our pockets. Absolutely, we do have our pockets. But the change is coming because I believe that there was a generation that was just kind of skipped. I don't know how it happened, but the drugs and babies were having babies. It was just
And jobs were gone.
and jobs were gone. There was no development coming into New Hallville, and We were
It was
just
stagnant.
flatlined.
Yeah.
We were really flatlined for a minute, but we survived it. We really survived it, and now we see that we can do better because we want more. We want to do better. We want our children to have more, and we love New Haven.
And you notice women, a lot of women have been involved in the Resiliency Council, in the management team, in the homeowners group that came out of the neighborhood housing services buildings that were done. Are women taking the lead again in general?
Absolutely, and I'm seeing a lot of younger people take the lead as well in terms of starting their own businesses.
Which can you tell me about some of those businesses?
Well, it's called Inc. 24 or 24 Inc. It's right on the borderline. You know, young guys, they were in for a little while. They came out and they started inking. What do you call it?
Tattoos.
Tattooing business.
Oh, they came out of prison and did that?
Yes, they're doing tattoos. And then you have Gary Gates, his barber shop. He's on the New Haven side now, and his barber shop is thriving. Like I'm like, Gary, you're always full. He's like, I know, I don't have enough chairs.
And he's a New Hallville.
And he's a New Hallville person, but it's more than just cutting the hair. He's in there, and I go in there sometimes and I just sit.
Mentor.
He's mentoring. They have books in there so that the kids can sit and read, and they're talking about things that are going to make these little boys men. It's that piece that's missing from their lives because I see a lot of single moms coming in, and they're like, well, Gary, should I come back? Like, nope, leave them here because they're going to be
What time
with
of
me.
day is it really happen?
After school, you'll get that 3 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon because we have our little great nephews. We take them over there. So we sit and we get their hair cut over there. But the stories that they're talking about and just the mentorship about how to be a man, how to be a great person in New Hallville, how to start your own business. You got to have a little gig on the side because working a 9 to 5 is not enough. So they're hearing those things and they're not holding back on things.
And Gary has a great give back with his basketball league.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Was that over the summer at Bassett Street? He
Yes.
does that. He does that league.
Yes.
Yes. So we have those things that are happening. You're seeing those pockets of things. And then Jeanette Sykes, she has the mentorship program, and she pulls really hard from New Hallville of girls who are going to college. So it's the high school population. And they meet over at Southern Connecticut State University. So she's pulling from New Hallville, and she's giving the girls, she's introducing them to mentors, to people who are doing it. And I think the combination of mentorship, the combination of just staying on the path and education is really a very important and a road, a pathway for building up New Hall and Dixwell and really making New Haven one city.
And before we go out, I want to talk about, with all the management team people, traffic calming. I'm hearing a lot about that. Last week we had Diane Ecton from Fairhaven. She talked about how 8 of her cars, at first she thought it was 7, have been totaled in the same spot on the street over the years until she got a sign put up. I know that on Winchester Avenue there's some traffic calming concerns. Nina, have there been any issues in Dixwell where you're looking to slow down cars and make it safer for people to walk or bike?
There have been some requests for some speed bumps in certain areas. I know that there's been a request for speed bumps in the townhouse areas coming around the little curve of, I think that's Winter Street. I know that I would love to have like a speed bump on Henry Street just to slow cars down when the children are getting off the bus. I myself have gone outside and yelled at cars.
Really?
And my children are, my son does, he has a smaller bus and he has a van door stop. So when he gets off, they're not allowed to go on the other side. So that's good for him. But the big buses, when they stop on the corner, cars, I don't know how you can't see the big stop sign going out, but they still run it. And I will run off the porch and yell and write down the...
How often do you do that?
In the summertime, if you come by, you'll see me. I also throw trash back in cars if you throw trash out on the street.
I always wonder why people do that. Why they throw stuff outside their cars when
I
they're
don't.
driving.
My neighbors think
But how do you get them if they're already driven past? If they threw
I could run. And that light on Dixwell and Henry is a quick light.
So what do they say when you confront them?
Some people like when you throw something back in someone's car, they're taken
You
back.
actually throw it.
Oh yeah, put it back in their car. Yeah.
Like what would it be that they threw? Like a McDonald's wrap?
A
McDonald's
McDonald's cigarette cases, not
So you pick
necessarily
it up
glass
and you
bottles.
dash. Did you run track or something in high school?
No.
Okay. But you run to the light, they're stuck there, and you actually throw it in
I
their
put
window?
it back in there and say, would you throw this in front of your house? You just throw it in front of
Do you
my
throw
house.
it or do you hand it?
Not throw it hard disrespectfully, but I do say, would you throw this in front of your house? Like if
And what
put
do they
it in-
say?
and they're like, no. And I'm like, would you like me to throw it in the garbage for you? And they're like, yes. But putting more garbage cans in our neighborhood, I think that's one of my big initiatives for being the chair on the management team, to take more pride in your neighborhood. And I think we need to bring that back.
All right. Well, I think you are bringing it back. And as you're going to notice right now, Kim, I'm starting to play that music, so you're going to have your last things. But you are bringing the pride back, and that's what I'm so excited about, this One City campaign, that the leaders of our 12 community management teams have gotten together in a way New Haven hasn't seen in a long, long time. And last night they were in New Hallville from other parts of the town coming to see what you're up to, telling you they're up to. This summer you got the One City campaign planned. We're going to talk more about this next week. But what do you want people to know before we leave? Where do you want them to check to get more information?
Definitely go to onecityinitiative.org, and you will be able to see the history of the One City Initiative. You'll be able to upload your information. And Paul, I just really want to say, once again, a heartfelt thank you to you.
And right back to you.
Because you are opening the doors.
Well, we're just getting started.
To people.
Absolutely.
Because
I'm
next
telling
week we're going to, first of all, this will play over and over, but next week we're going to hear from some more neighborhoods, and we got a
Yes.
whole lead up to this summer. And I salute what you're doing, Nina. Salute what you're doing, Kim. Keep it going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great to talk to you.
You too.
So thanks for coming on WNHH FM's Dateline New Haven. Thanks to our guest, Nina Silva, and as always, the fabulous Kim Harris. Thanks to Yale New Haven Hospital for providing support for today's program. We're going to take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free from the group CD, A Plea for Peace. Now, we know what it's like to be free. We just got to remember to book our flight. Book your flight with us all day and all night long here at WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio.